If it's like a simple medication, you need an antibiotic because you got a roaring fricking infection that's properly diagnosed, Dan.
Thank you.
Then I feel like that compliance is going to be a lot higher versus when we give people exercises and they're like, it's just interesting. And I wonder if you called them in 2 days or 1 day versus a week, like is a week too long? Because I leave a video message for new patients on the same day. That's sometimes too early or not. It'd be interesting to see if there's any data on that. Like when's a good time to follow up with a patient. But
Melanie, call your friends at the Journal of Internet Medical Research or whatever, and let's get some movement here.
Definitely is the reason why we have things at the office to send people home with, like foam rollers and lacrosse balls and things like that. Because in the past, we'd show somebody an exercise that, hey, I don't have a lacrosse ball, but I'll pick one up at the store on my way home. Great. And then they come back, use little craft balls. Oh, I was going to get it. And they just don't have it. So then there's another week of no progress. And so we just make a point of having those right there. We give them to them at cost, but at least then they've got them. They go home with them and they're starting to make progress right away, because this is really a legitimate problem.
And I don't know if you see this too, Dan, but I've always thought that's one of the reasons the foam roller is so effective is it's weird. It catches your eye. It sits out. Whereas a ball, you could throw it in a bag and hide it. You know, a 3-foot foam roller doesn't fit in any bag I know of. And like, it's odd. But the uptake, especially in like older guys, the uptake of the foam roller is surprisingly high for something that, you know, if you're 68 years old with multiple surgeries, even if you're bathed in Scotch, which many of them are, it's still uncomfortable to roll on that foam roller, but yet they're willing to do it like crazy. It's always shocked me.
Because it works.
Yeah.
And going back just a little bit, Ed, to your point about like studies on the timing of like when, you know, the phone call is important or the text message is important, I'll have to bring it up maybe next week. I do have an article that was texting with kids having tonsillectomy, and it was the parents getting messages before care and then after care. And it was kind of like that, where there's a text like 8 hours after, and then there was a text the next morning and the next evening, and then it was like 4 days after that. But yeah, I'll have to bring that one next week and kind of show you what the results of that were.
Yeah, that would be cool to see that data. Especially, I'm sure 2014 is different than 2000.
Huge. So much change in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Well,
your daughters won't even pick up the phone, right, Christy? It's like,
no,
it's making a strange sound. It's like a ringing tone or something. It's weird.
Well, and the phone is never on, right? It's always on silent.
Yep.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Trust Driven Trivia, brought to you by Trust Driven Care. Imagine a world where all your patient communication is in one place, seamless, effortless, and on autopilot. That's the power of Trust Driven Care. If you're ready to streamline your practice, check out trustdrivencare.com and see what's possible. Join us next week for more laughs, new guests, and fresh questions that turn medical research into pure fun. Trust Driven Trivia, making healthcare knowledge exciting, one question at a time.